So here we are having a little sit in our beautiful Adirondack chairs. There probably isn't an episode where I don't mention them, but I love them. So today we are just enjoying the day, and we're gonna go and check out that wet lumber that we saw a few days ago, because when we first got to the island, the water was very, very high, and it has receded somewhat. And so now we are just gonna go and check Berry Point, which is what we have affectionately named the point where we first landed. And we're gonna go and check and see how that lumber is doing, because it was pretty wet. So we're gonna figure out a way to dry it and still be able to use it, hopefully.
That's right. We don't want it to be all rotted. So maybe we can restack it or something. Use some of the wood as stickers, which interleave and create some space so that the wet stuff can dry.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, but it's something we need to do before we go.
While the weather is good, our priorities are to finish the cabin, I would say. What would you say?
I want to finish the cabin, get water, and finish the bird bath. And then we can work on things like the shop, solar system, that kind of stuff, right?
Right. We're going to need the solar system, though, in order to use some of the things that will require power, right?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll set up a temporary solar system on the shore there.
Right.
And it'll be used for about 4 or 5 hours a day. And I'll just run some lines back behind the bird bath, I guess, and hook up a few batteries.
So what's your plan for the solar system? Because Ryan put a ton of work this winter when we were on our travels to see family. He put a lot of work into designing a solar system that would be sustainable for our property here, because there's a lot that we want to do.
I'm planning a video because I think it'll be helpful for other people. And I think that, you know, in our situation, we have a multi-staged build, right? We're starting with a tiny cabin, then we're going to be adding a second cabin, then we're going to be adding a couple of docks. I want the docks to have power.
Yeah.
I want the bird bath to have power. We're putting a shop in. I want that to have power.
Yeah, the bird bath for sure, because we want to have a hot shower in there, and we've been able to have hot water because of the Julka.
Yeah, we're going to continue to use the Julka for the foreseeable future. It'd be nice to get off of the need for propane. At some point, I'll put an electric on-demand system in the bird bath.
Yeah, that would be great.
There's so many things that you need to consider. One is the layout. Two, where to put the array so that you can maximize the solar insolation. That's like, you know, the amount of energy you can get from the sun throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out what kind of panels to use, whether they're tilted, whether they track, whether they're fixed. And then there's things like wire sizing, inverter sizing, calculating the loads for each building. I mean, all that'll be covered in this video that I'm going to put together. So it really will be a really comprehensive A to Z video on designing a solar system that's going to work for your area. It takes into account the right angles to tilt your solar panels at for different seasons based on your geographic location.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about maximizing the solar power from the sun. Another big consideration with solar when you're in such a high latitude as we are is the winter. Typical winters are minus 30 to 40, and that's a sustained temperature, and lithium-ion batteries do not work at that temperature. So the only way to really deal with this thing and have a stable solar system is to build a battery bunker. And that means a subterranean battery room that will be maintained at a nice 20 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what we want, because when we first got the island, we were fully happy to cook over a campfire, live in a tent. Now we've moved on a little bit from that, and now that we're in the cabin, oh my goodness, it seems like there's nothing that we're not going to be able to do, because it's just given us a base to be able to plan.
Yeah, that's right. It's a nice, safe, dry place out of the weather.
Yeah.
And it's safe, you know, in terms of if any predators happen to come to the island, they're not going to be able to get into this little cabin. And
so how many predators have we seen since moving onto this island?
Oh, millions. I would say millions of mosquitoes. You know, that's the only real predator we've seen so far.
Literally, we haven't seen one predator except mosquitoes and those big flies.
And that man-eating beaver.
Yeah, the only animal we've seen here was a beaver. That's it, and it still holds to this day. So, well, Opal, the man-eating puppy dog.
Yeah.
But aside from that, no, we've been really fortunate, and I think that
she only eats lumberjacks, though.
Yeah. Oh, poor Uncle Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a picture. She wants to play. Opal. No, Kent. She wants you to take a picture.
No, get your picture paying.
Her tail is down as well.
Yeah, but nothing lasts really with her.
Kent, come here. I'm spraying some hydrogen peroxide on your butt right off.
But it's so gorgeous. Once we settle here, we're going to be here for months. And
right.
Yeah.
We should fish, because we'll have the fridge and freezer, we should fish and build up our fish stocks.
But we also wanted to get a smoker. And that in itself makes me look forward to fishing even more. Another thing that I'm really, really excited about is that in our home base, which isn't on the island at the moment because it just wouldn't make sense year long, but in our home base, we have a greenhouse. And I'm going to show some video of that greenhouse because I've never grown food before. And Ryan built me this greenhouse that he said, you know what, I'm just going to slap it up. If we like it, we'll use it. If we don't, I can take it down. Well, it's turned out that, yeah, it was put up with poly and 2x4s, but it's my favorite greenhouse, and now I don't want it taken down. Dude, they're so pretty. They sound so lovely. Aren't those pretty? And I've got little hummingbird feeders that I'm going to put in those two past the middle one. But this is my little project today that I've been working on. So he might build me another one here, just kind of still a temporary one, because we do have plans for a full-on geothermal greenhouse here. But don't we?
We do. That's a big project. It'll require a lot of excavation, drainage plans, etc.
But Ryan can do anything. So I don't have any doubts at all that we can get that done as well. We're just heading over to Berry Point.
It's springtime here at Bird Island, and the lake is full of pollen at the moment. In a few days, it will all sink to the bottom, and the lake itself will again become as clear as crystal.
It's kind of neat to see the truck there still. I love it. Wow, that sky. The sky is so blue.
Just looking at this footage, and I see that I'm always smiling. And no wonder. Bird Island has been so good for us. Sure, it's hard work, but the air is clean and quiet. And the clear skies are so rejuvenating. With zero light pollution at night, the stars are incredible. We can see forever. We absolutely love this lifestyle.
The water's really receded, and as you can see the cabin with Pepper in front of it. Pepper. And our solar panels, our Bluetti. And this here is our water container, and it's actually survived the winter, which was amazing to us to see it sitting there. So we have a pump. We're going to be able to pump water into it and use it, and then I guess treat it.
Yeah, we'll get a water treatment system.
Now, the other view that looks different than it did last year is that little cabin is just about on its last legs. There we go. Okay, this is our landing point. Last year, it definitely looks a bit more like it did, more than the other day, that's for sure, but not completely. Yeah, no, not completely at all, because everything was just on the inside of these willows here, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Wow. So we're coming to take a look. Oh, thank goodness, those are out of the water now. That lumber is out of the water. No, just hold it, Opal. Wait, wait, wait. We're not going to do this yet.
Yeah, all this stuff here, I'd say the water's about a foot, maybe almost
2 feet? Yeah.
or deeper.
Yeah. Just stay here, Opal. Stay here. Yeah, this is going to be hard to get off, isn't it? Now I can tell what the Saskatoons are. They're the ones that are flowered. So now I can tell how many bushes we actually have here, because I thought we might have lost some. But I think we have a good amount still. Up there, yeah. This is Berry Point, but not as many as I thought.
These white flowers are Saskatoons?
Yes, those are Saskatoons. So, it's not as many as I'd hoped here. I don't know what's happened to them. All of this stuff was taken down though, which is a pity. Wow, what happened to the berries? Those tires are actually from our truck, I think.
These are from the trailer, I think.
From the trailer, that's true too. They are from the trailer.
We purchased this pile of lumber last year, and it contains materials for the siding and deck for our tiny cabin. I've raided this pile a few times for other projects, so I'm going to need to review the deck plans to see what I need to rebuy.
Got all the ants living under this log.
That's treated lumber though.
I'm a little nervous that we may have lost some wood to the elements. That'll teach us for buying too far in advance.
Not as bad as we thought, honey.
Might have lost a little bit of siding. I think it's going to be okay.
Whew.
A couple of warped boards here.
Yeah. You can always cut the ends off though, if it's just at the end. There's tar paper in there.
Yeah.
I don't think it got that high because most of it was actually up off the ground, hey?
Got that high right there.
Yeah. So not as bad as we thought. That's a blessing.
Wow, that was lucky. We're going to be able to use most of the lumber after all.
There's 3 6x6 posts that we'll have to dry out. The ones on the bottom. That's it.
Yeah, we can just lay them in the sun right on top. We'll come by and do that tomorrow morning.
When it comes time to... I guess I should put this back on, eh?
I'd leave it open.
I'm thinking it might rain.
I don't think it's going to rain tonight.
Okay, you want to come back tomorrow, put it on?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to rain tonight. I think it could be tomorrow, but tonight I think it's 0%.
Okay. So there's some siding. That's hardy. Hardy.
Yeah.
And we could paint that. So it's come down a lot. Like from here all the way to there.
Our vision is to have a nice wraparound deck on the tiny cabin. We bought materials for it a year ago, but we just haven't found the time to get going yet. Yeah, a nice deck overlooking the lake at night with a little fire. That'll be perfect. Okay, gonna go to the barge, try to lift the motor, take a good look at that prop. Just in case you remember the last time we went through the channel, it was at super low water. I dragged the bottom of the barge through the rock bar, kind of like a sandbar, but it's gravel. And I think I chewed up the prop. So I'm gonna lift the motor up, take a look at the prop, and see if I have to dress it. That's what I think is gonna have to happen. It's coming through the trail. We cut this road in last year. This is our cabin that is going to have to be torn down. But it's a perfect spot for a replacement house. It'll have an amazing view. So we're looking forward to that. Wow, the water's receded. These ramps were in the edge of the water when we parked it last, so it's receded about a foot. Okay, let's get situated. Okay. Yeah, okay. Up comes the motor. Oh good, I can get at the prop like that. All right, now to get the boat sorted out so I can pull that prop off. Okay, we're trying to get situated here. And it's a little windy, and it's not that much fun right now. Oh, I could really use another hand. Maybe if I tie the back of the boat as well. Oh, this is hard with one person. That might work. If I can find a spot to tie this on. Okay. Now, let's try to focus on what I'm doing here. Let's use this several 16ths. See if we can. Oh, how am I going to do that? I think I need to have it in drive. Okay. Oh man. Just gonna wreck stuff.
Okay, that's off. Whoa, that's off. And I think the prop should just come off now. Oh! Oh no! Oh no!
This is awful. When I removed the prop, the drive sleeve inside the prop, it fell to the bottom of the lake. This is terrible. Without the drive sleeve, the barge is absolutely dead in the water. I need that drive sleeve. I'm gonna have to somehow retrieve it from the bottom of the lake.
Oh no, now what? Oh no. So as we can tell, this prop is mangled. Look at it. So I'm going to need to hammer it out and then probably dress it. But worse than that, I got to tell Melody I dropped part of the prop in the water. So here goes. Hi, Annie.
Hi. Ready to go.
Hi, honey.
What? What'd you do?
Nothing.
What did you do?
Ask me how the prop went.
How did it go with the prop?
It couldn't have gone worse.
What happened?
Hey, there's teeth right out of this prop, eh? See that? It's just mangled. You see that there? Look at it.
How did it get that way?
So when we tried to go through the channel. So what I'm trying to do now is, there's some real thick parts here. And I'm trying to just hammer them all so they're about the same thickness. And then I'll clean it up a bit with the grinder. So I've been working on this for a while, and I think I've got it pretty good. There we go. One more spot.
So explain what you were doing down there when you came back and told me. What were you doing down at the boat this morning?
Well, I went down to the barge this morning to get this piece, this prop, because I knew it was badly damaged, and it was really windy this morning, and I had so much difficulty trying to get the prop off that when I finally pulled it off, this middle piece fell in the water, and that was the part that I was a little sheepish about.
So that piece, so without that piece, the barge doesn't run.
Barge doesn't run.
We don't get off the island.
We don't get off the island.
Even if we had the boat, because guess what?
The truck's over there. Yeah. So I'm just gonna get a battery for the grinder, honey. And then we're just going to clean this up a little bit.
So now that we're a little bit warmer, we're heading back down to the barge, and Ryan's going to put that piece in the boat.
Oh, great. Okay.
Hold on to that thing this time. Hold on to everything as tight as you can.
Yeah, no kidding.
You didn't tie yourself off, or?
I did this morning. Tied myself off to here, but you're going to be my tie off now.
Right there. Yeah, and you're getting head of steam up now. What a day today has been. Oh, brother.
Even this little bit of wind is hard.
Yeah.
This goes on like that.
Can you imagine dropping one of those nuts?
No. That. Oh, honey, it's so much easier with you here.
I'm glad. So if the prop is all jumbled like that,
Yeah.
does it do something to the motor?
If it's out of balance, it can cause vibration, which isn't good for the motor.
Oh.
Hey, props on.
Well, that job was finished. How long did that take us, hon?
6 hours.
Here, sit. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. She's been really doing well with sitting. I want to take a good look at that cabin because that cabin is not going to be there for that much longer.
Well, today was a bit challenging, to say the least, but we're so glad it's over. The recovery was successful, and the barge has been restored to its full functionality. You know, it's times like these that make us realize that not every day will go smoothly, but together, we can always overcome any obstacle that befalls us. This is living, and we are doing it to the fullest. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please support us by clicking the thumbs up icon on YouTube. We invite you to also subscribe and click the bell. You'll be notified when we upload new content. Please invite your friends and family to come along too. Bye for now.